Never thought I'd make a video like this. Hello everybody. I'm going to be doing something a little different. A few people on my Discord have been asking me to read my book on YouTube, so that's what I'm doing. Yes, this is my real voice, by the way. Bet you're expecting something different. Anyways, quick disclaimer. There will be a character mentioned named Renji. I do not own him. He is not my OC. I will credit the owner of Renji below in the description. This book is quite a triggering one. Really triggering, actually. There will be mentions of suicide, self-harm, rape, pedophilia, and abuse, and probably more triggers to come. So, if any of that triggers you or makes you feel some sort of way, feel free to come back later. I will not blame you for real. Without further ado, I will start reading. This is How to Become Emo, epilogue, and I think that's the right word, but, yeah, and chapter 1. Anyways, here we go. It was mid-afternoon, and a troubled teen stands lone in a graveyard. The rain was coming down and the sun's light barely showed through the dark clouds blocking the sky. The girl kneels down in front of a grave, 2 names etched on the stone in front of her. Hana and Hikaru Hirabayashi, the famous heroes known as Sizable and Invisi. The teen laid the flowers in front of the grave, lifting her blonde locks away from her face and tucking them into her hood, behind her ears. I miss you. She had started with a whisper, talking to the gravestone about what had happened to her recently. It's been a while. I know. I haven't talked in a while. Things are shittier than usual. I think something's up with Akira. He hasn't been eating right lately. A look of sadness washes over her face as she speaks. I think he's been starving himself. He's missed you so much. But hey, I bet you could never imagine. He's got a boyfriend now. I know that you guys were so worried he wouldn't find anybody. She'd smiled softly, staring at the grave and imagining Akira and his boyfriend so happy together. His name is Renji. I'm not joking. He's so nice. Really. I wish you guys could have met him. She sighs and checks the time. 5:03 p.m. Alright. I gotta go. I'll see you next week. Mom, Dad, I love you. Chapter 1. A few minutes later, the teen was on her way home. She walks with her hands in her pockets, earbuds in, and listening to some music to calm her soul. As she walks down the street past the local park and the junior high school, she hums the tune of her music quietly to herself, blissfully unaware of the redhead on her path. Hey, you! Psycho! The redhead called out, catching the teen's attention. She looked up and took an earbud out. Oh, Natsumi. Hey. She replied timidly, a hint of underlying nervousness in her voice. Natsumi, the redhead, crossed her arms after shoving Psycho. What are you doing out here this late? Grieving the parents you couldn't save. Such pathetic heroes, weren't they? Don't you think? She laughed, her words sounding condescending. Yeah, I guess. She shrugged, attempting to push past the older teen. It's been 7 years. Grow a pair and get over it. Don't be a puss because the only people who would ever love you are dead and gone. Natsumi scoffs, shoving Psycho as she leaves sulking. Natsumi couldn't help but smirk, thinking Psycho had only been overreacting over her parents' tragic passing. Psycho sighs, putting her earbud back in and focusing solely on her music. She'd been listening to Blue Death. He had recently released a new album a few days prior called Self-Medicated. She listened to a few songs and instantly fell in love. Psycho crosses the bridge, nearing her home. A canal flows below, the sounds of boats passing occasionally disturbing the peace. She walks by an old ice cream shop that had shut down a few years ago, dusty and boarded up. Another few steps and she's walking across the street, down the block, and stopping at a light blue two-story house. Psycho walks inside, kicking off her shoes and setting her bag by the door. "Akira, I'm home," she calls out, hoping for a response. She walks to the living room, the TV showing a woman in the front of a store commenting on the nasty weather in the area. Rain is expected to persist over the next few days. Thunderstorms will become more likely to occur with the increase in humidity. Highs this week will be in the upper 70s, lows in the mid-50s. Psycho had briefly listened to the weather report, poking her head into the kitchen, hoping to find Akira. "There you are," she smiles softly, patting his back. Akira looks down at Psycho, a warm smile spreading across his lips. "Welcome home. I'm making some tonkotsu with those pork slices you like. Sorry I didn't call out earlier. Couldn't hear you because I left the TV running." Akira gave a light chuckle, slicing up the pork into thin slices and tossing them in a pan next to a pot with boiling water. Akira's phone was on, and he was on a video call with his boyfriend Renji. "Hey, Psycho!" Renji waved into the camera, and Psycho stepped a little closer so that she was in view of him. "Hey, Renji, how's America?" she asks, also intending to help Akira make dinner. "America is very nice. Much more crime, but the sights here are wonderful. I hope to see you guys again soon." Psycho smiles. "Of course. I hope we can meet again soon." Akira says his quick goodbyes, hanging up to make dinner with Psycho. There should be some spring onions, bok choy, and mushrooms in the fridge. "I'll do the pork and soy sauce measurements, okay?" Psycho nods, listening to Akira and looking for the ingredients in the fridge. She grabbed the cutting board, beginning to chop the ingredients into favorable sizes. Sizes? Yeah, sizes. Akira occasionally glances in her direction, watching her progress. Once the pot of water comes to a roaring boil, he places dried ramen noodles in the pot. Akira begins to focus more on Psycho, flipping the pork slices. He glanced in Psycho's direction once more, noticing something a bit under her sleeves, just from what he could see. Akira knew what it was. He had grown accustomed to seeing all those scars littering Psycho's wrists. But he wouldn't dare say anything now. It wasn't the time. "How are those spring onions coming?" I'm gonna put some in the broth as I heat it up." Psycho gazes up at Akira. "Almost done with them," she nods, putting the knife down and taking a bowl out of the cupboard above her. She guides the onions into the bowl, placing it near Akira for his use. "Thanks, sweetheart. Be careful. I'm going to drain the water from the noodles," he warned. Psycho steps to the side and giving Akira room to grab the colander from the cabinet near her feet. She watches as he places the colander in the sink, picking up the pot filled with water and noodles and straining it out. Once Akira put the pot back on the stove, tossing up some of the cut spring onions in with the noodles, then the pork slices. He pours the tonkotsu broth in the pot, heating everything up to a light boil. Psycho watches for a moment, then goes back to cutting up the other vegetables, starting with mushrooms, then the bok choy. "Hey, Akira, want me to grab 2 of the soft-boiled eggs from the fridge?" He nods with a grin. "Heck yeah, eggs are almost the best part of the dish." Psycho gave a small smile in return. You're right there, though I think it has to be the taste of the flavors all coming together in the broth. It just tastes amazing, don't you think? She asks, giving her... that doesn't sound right. I guess you're right. That does sound, and it tastes pretty great. Within a few more minutes, the pair would be eating at the table, talking to each other about their day. Well, the students really surprised me today. They left a banner above the classroom door that read malnourished ball sack in Korean. The students are really something this year. Akira laughs, slurping his ramen. That is funny as hell. Psycho laughs along. All I ever seem to get isn't very comedic. Yeah, I know. I wish the school would actually do something, Akira sighs, looking Psycho in the eye. I couldn't care less if the person was broke or rich. You don't deserve this bullshit you receive. You know that, right? She gives a nod, not sure if she truly believes it. Yeah, I know. Psycho replies with an obvious hint of reluctance. Akira could tell she didn't believe his words, but he couldn't exactly force her to believe him. She'll eventually find her own reason to believe. Psycho finishes her ramen with a content sigh, and the warmth of the broth and the noodles filling her up. Psycho gets up, sitting down on the couch with Akira in the living room after eating. Wanna do a Disney marathon? She suggests with a smirk. Akira directs his gaze to Psycho, grinning ear to ear. First to fall asleep gets to make dinner tomorrow. Psycho nods, letting out a laugh. I accept your challenge! And would you believe that? That's the end of chapter 1. That was actually kind of crazy, my guy. I certainly have to go through and revise some of the document, but I am going to... I'll probably add the document in the description when I'm actually done writing my book. But right as of now, only select people actually have the document. I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I am usually a very horrible reader. Like, I can't read out loud. It doesn't work that way. This is like the second time I actually redid this, I think. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want to hear more, because I will totally do this again if you guys would like this. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time it is for you. Drink water, eat food, and in the words of Drama Queen, love your fucking selves.